The babysitter sits in the darkened house, lit only by the soft glow of the television screen. Now that the little girl she's been watching has gone to bed, the once warm, lively home is eerily quiet and still. With nervous fingers that need to keep moving, she flips through the channels, past competitive cooking shows, a black and white film, a documentary about penguins. Nothing grabs her attention like she needs. None of it is an adequate distraction from the anxious prickle on the back of her neck, the way her palms are growing clammy and slick with sweat. This is the worst part of every babysitting gig. Her friends would disagree. They all say that late at night, after the kids have gone to bed and before the parents get home from their evening out, is the very best part of the job. This is the perfect little pocket of peace when they can invite their boyfriends over or sneak an extra snack from the pantry. But as her eyes watch the flickering screen, the shopping channel, the late-night talk shows, all she can really think about is just how alone she is right now. It's a safe neighborhood. She knows that in the rational part of her mind, but she can't help but feel her pulse spike every time headlights illuminate the yard outside the window. She can't stop her imagination from running wild with images of machete-wielding killers watching through the glass. Why, she has to wonder as her chest tightens with aimless fear, are there so many scary stories about babysitters? It's always the babysitter getting a phone call from a menacing stranger, rasping in a deep voice,
"Have you checked the children?"
The babysitter is the one watching the creepy clown statue in the corner of the room all night, until she calls the family to ask them a question about it, and hears those terrifying words,
"We don't have a clown statue."
It's inescapable. From mask-wielding slashers and escaped lunatics, to the soft voices of ghostly children, and the maniacal cackling of the demon in the closet or under the bed, waiting for new prey. In a horror story, the babysitter always has a target on their back. She shivers. Those are campfire stories, she reminds herself. Just because a babysitter is an easy target for a fictional killer, that doesn't mean anything bad is going to happen to her here tonight. The kid is sleeping soundly, the parents will be home soon, and there's leftover macaroni and cheese in the kitchen. Everything is fine. Better than fine, in fact. She takes a deep breath in and out. Another breath in, but just before she can let it out and relax, there's a sound, a rustling at the front door. She tenses, holding her breath. Maybe it's a raccoon digging through the trash. Maybe it's just the wind. But then she hears it, undeniable and chilling, the sound of footsteps pacing back and forth outside. She grips the arm of the couch so hard her knuckles go white, refusing to move a muscle. Should she turn the lights on? No, she can't. Then they'll know someone is home. Whoever is lurking outside the front door right now is deliberately deciding not to knock, and she doesn't want them to know she's here. Suddenly, a thought occurs to her, one that makes her stomach drop. Did she remember to lock the door? The squeak of metal almost makes her cry out in shock, but she covers her mouth at the last second. The mail slot on the front door slides open. Something small pushes through and lands on the floor with a soft thud. Then, as quickly as they came, she hears the footsteps retreat, and she is alone in the dark again. She waits and waits and waits, but there's no other sounds. Whoever was there, they're gone now. But what did they leave behind? The babysitter tiptoes over to the door, where she finds the strange delivery sitting on the floor. It's a small plastic case containing a single unmarked DVD. She flips it over, looking for any kind of writing to indicate what it might be. There's nothing on it at all. She couldn't explain what exactly made her walk to the family's television and slide the disc into the DVD player before sitting down to watch whatever it might hold. Perhaps it was morbid curiosity or that nagging, all-consuming desire for distraction. Whatever it was, she picked up the remote control, pressed play, and readied herself for what might come next. The screen comes to life with the image of a young woman in a short white dress and a pair of high heels, running down a narrow hallway. Her mouth is wide open, her face twisted into a blood-curdling scream, but there is no sound coming from the TV. The babysitter points the remote at the television and turns up the volume, but nothing comes out of the speakers, just silence. Somehow, without sound, the scream looks more horrifying. It's stiff, unnatural. As the woman on TV runs, a dark figure rounds the corner behind her, pursuing her. The babysitter gasps involuntarily as the figure comes further into the frame. The thing chasing her is a massive doll, 3 times the height of the woman in the white dress. It wears a dress of its own, a garish, lacy thing with puffed sleeves and a long, stuffed skirt. The doll shouldn't be able to move the way it does. Everything about it makes it seem like it was meant to stay still. Its stiff wooden arms, its splayed frozen fingers, the fixed, insipid smile, its unblinking beady eyes that tore into its victim's back. Still, the doll moves, its legs and arms pumping, its head turning from side to side to follow the woman's path. The hallway turns into a music room, with a grand piano and a wooden bench that the woman knocks on its side as she barrels past. The doll is relentless in its pursuit, following at a steady, almost casual pace, as if it knows that the human girl will grow tired, weak, and vulnerable, while it could keep up this chase forever. The babysitter can't look away, can't shut her eyes. She wants to so badly, but she has to see what happens to the poor girl, what that unfeeling face on the doll will look like when it catches its prey. She watches for a while, she can't quite tell how long, and then the screen cuts to black. The babysitter sighs, ready to eject the DVD and throw it in the trash, but then it comes back to life. There she is, the woman in white, lying on the floor now in a crumpled, motionless heap. The camera trails over her body, from her feet, up her legs, bent at odd angles, past her broken arms, and finally, to her face. There, the beady black eyes stare out of the screen. The woman's head is gone, replaced with the head of the doll. Then the screen goes black again. It's over. The babysitter reaches a hand to her face and feels moisture on her cheeks. When did she start crying? She wasn't sure, but now she couldn't stop. It was all so horrible. People being chased by giant dolls, being killed by dolls, turning into dolls. She feels her grasp of what was real, of what was flesh and blood, and what was cold, cruel porcelain growing weaker. She tries to calm her racing heart, to recall a soothing song her mother used to sing, but those old memories feel fuzzy like a half-remembered dream. "Hello?" A quiet voice jolts the babysitter from her thoughts. There, on the stairs, is the little girl, the one she's supposed to be watching, clad in her pink bunny pajamas and clutching her favorite doll. "I had a bad dream." The babysitter looks from the little girl to the doll in her hand. The two have the same wide blue eyes, the same perfect ringlet curls, the same rosy cheeks, the almost artificial sheen of her skin, the way she walks, talks. How had she not seen it before? "It's okay, I'm here," she says. "Do you want a glass of water?" The girl nods. The babysitter could have sworn the doll nodded too. What could she do? Could she say something? No, that wouldn't work. The girl was too young to understand. She would have to find another way. She makes her way to the kitchen, and as she turns on the tap to fill a cup with water, her eyes fall on the butcher's block, on the meat cleaver, waiting there like a volunteer. She wraps her hand around its handle and makes her way back to the living room. A half hour later, the parents come home, expecting to find their daughter in bed and their trusty babysitter sitting on the couch like she always was. Instead, they find a nightmare. They turn on the lights to reveal splatters of blood soaking their once pristine white carpet, a streak of thick red gore leading them down the hall. They can smell a metallic rot that belonged in a butcher's shop. When they reach the kitchen, all they can do is scream. The mother turns away in horror from what she saw in the kitchen to find the babysitter standing before her, still clutching the cleaver, now dripping with blood. Her expression is one of grief, deep and sorrowful. "What have you done?" the girl's mother wails as her husband stands by, pale and in shock. "I didn't want to, but it was the only way." The babysitter wipes the tears from her eyes, smearing blood across her cheek as she does. "Don't you see?" She looks at the couple expectantly, but they cannot say a word. If they open their mouths again, they know they will be sick. "I had to show you the truth," the babysitter insists. "She wasn't real anyway. I had to take her apart, but I can put her back together. She was a doll, a toy, just like me." She turns her gaze to them, a sudden, wild glint in her tear-filled eyes. She slowly stands and takes a step toward the couple, her expression one of grim determination. The look of someone who is not proud of the blood they will have on their hands, but is still about to spill it anyway. The parents turned to run, but it was too late. She was already on them. She raised the cleaver high, the sharp metal edge glinting menacingly in the low light. "Just like you." This poor unfortunate family, their lost daughter, and a seemingly well-adjusted babysitter turned murderer were not the first people to have their lives destroyed by this strange DVD, and they would not be the last. All over the world, random individuals have opened their mailboxes to find a nondescript DVD with no logo, title, or any other identifying information. If they made the grave mistake of watching the DVD, then they too inevitably fell prey to the influence of SCP-1432, also known as Doll DVD. SCP-1432 does not refer to the digital video discs themselves, but rather to the piece of content that is contained on them. It is a silent, avant-garde short film that consists of a series of nearly identical scenes. In each sequence, a massive doll chases a young woman through various rooms and down various hallways. The doll's size varies from scene to scene, seemingly expanding or compressing in order to fill larger rooms or fit through smaller doorways. This goes on for 16 minutes before the final scene, a shot of the young woman's body, with the doll's head now in place of her own. But what is it, aside from the unsettling imagery, that makes this video so anomalous? Anyone who views this video for at least 5 minutes will experience a dramatic shift in their perception of reality and of their own identity. The subject will begin to believe, without a shred of doubt, that they and all of the other people and animals in the world are not organic beings, but rather dolls constructed by an unidentified force. This effect results in homicidal tendencies in 73% of subjects. The resulting murders are often messy and emotionally fraught for the subject, who will express remorse for what they have done, while simultaneously believing that killing and mutilating their victim is the only way to show others the truth. The first instance of SCP-1432 on record was discovered in the evidence lockup of a small-town Ohio police station, after a particularly harrowing homicide case drew the attention of Foundation operatives. A 12-year-old boy had watched the video, and several hours later had killed and mutilated his mother and father. The Foundation brought both the DVD and the boy into custody, and a researcher sat him down for an interview. The researcher began the interview by having the boy introduce himself by name. With those formalities out of the way, they could get to the more pressing questions. "Very good," he began. "Now, you believe that you are an artificial toy, is that correct?" The boy nodded. "I am. You are. Everyone I've met is. Probably everyone is, I don't know, At this, he trailed off, his eyes filling with tears. The researcher attempted to comfort him. "It's okay. When did you realize you were a toy?" "I watched a video. Don't remember much of it. About a doll, I think, or something. But after that, I knew. I mean, it was obvious. How could I not have seen it sooner? Everyone was. Everyone, just toys. Everything I felt. That time I hit a home run for the first time, my love for my parents, my dog. All just someone playing with their toys." The researcher pressed the matter a little further. "But if you didn't think like this until after you saw the video, don't you think it possible the video could have made you feel this way, affected your mind somehow?" At this, the boy clenched his fists tight, face reddening with anger. "No! The guy who made the video, he was warning people, don't you get it? He figured it out, and he wanted other people to know, because people need to. They don't deserve to just exist so that somewhere someone gets a good laugh or whatever. It's okay, I understand." "So, did you try to tell your parents about what you'd found out?" The boy began to tremble. The tears that had pooled in his eyes before now flowed freely down his cheeks. I did. They didn't believe me. I kept explaining it to them, but they just didn't understand. I had to show someone. I had to let people know. The only way was to... It couldn't have been just anyone else. I wouldn't get the opportunity like I did with them, but..." "I understand. You had to do what you thought was right." The boy pounded his fists on the table, shaking harder than before. His voice wavered with the intensity of his distress. "They're so smart. They know. The only way you find out is to show people what's really inside. So they put in this, they program you so that you don't. They make it so hard. It was all those memories, but I had to. The researcher reached out a hand to pat the boy on the shoulder. "I know. It's okay." The boy wept silently for a moment and then asked, "I'm a good person, right? I had to. I really did." The researcher fought back tears of their own. "You're a good person. It will be all right eventually. I promise." The boy was taken back to his containment chamber and given a sedative to help him sleep. The researcher immediately requested a course of Class A amnestics to help him forget the conversation that had troubled him so deeply. His request was granted, and he carried on with his duties at the SCP Foundation until the next traumatic encounter. All recovered instances of SCP-1432 are kept in a secure filing cabinet in its containment chamber. This chamber also contains a television and DVD player, which are to be used during testing. No instances of SCP-1432 may be removed from the room under any circumstances. Though the Foundation has contained every doll DVD it has come across, The containment process for SCP-1432 has been a bit like tossing buckets of water out of a sinking ship. It may help a little, but the dangerous waters continue to rise just the same. Because of this difficulty in maintaining containment, SCP-1432 has been given the Euclid Object Class. All the Foundation can really do is monitor police communications and keep an eye out for any homicides linked to a DVD. If one such crime is reported, the recovery team will be sent to the scene to retrieve any potential instances of SCP-1432. These suspected DVDs are then tested on D-Class personnel. If the test subjects begin rambling on about dolls and people not being real, then the DVDs are placed in immediate containment. The effort doesn't end there, though. The digital age has made it easier to find recipes, communicate with lost loved ones, and pirate music. But it has also made it simpler for bad actors to share harmful material with millions of strangers. Because SCP-1432 could do untold damage to the population if allowed to go viral, a specialized team must monitor online video sharing platforms for any instances of it. If any are found, they must be deleted as soon as possible, and the IP address of the user who uploaded the video must be traced. Currently, very little is known about the video's origins. It is yet to be determined who made the video, for what purpose, or who will be selected to receive a copy next. There are some forces in this world that you just shouldn't toy with, so be wary of any mysterious DVDs that are slipped into your mailbox. Best just to throw it away immediately. Don't bring it inside the house, don't fire up your DVD player, and definitely don't press play. If you do, it might be the last thing you ever watch. Now go and watch another entry from the files of DrBob, like SCP-513, a cowbell, for another madness-inducing anomaly that chips away at the sanity of all who encounter it. And make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single anomaly as we delve further and further into the SCP Foundation's classified archives.